Good evening, hockey fans. For tonight's NHL matchup, your Utah Hockey Club taking on the Minnesota Wild in just a short little road trip. As I hope the broadcast is working and actually doesn't kick me out. If not, I have other options. We'll see what we need, though. Your lineups for tonight: Keller, Hayton, Schmaltz on that top line for Utah, McBain, Cooley, Gunther on the second, Maselli, Bukestad, Kraus on the third, Kirkoni, Stenlin, Kerfoot on the fourth, Sergachev, Mata on the top D pairing, Cole, Kessering on the second, Valimaki, Kuliachanik on the third, and Vamelka in net. Looking over at the Wild: Kaprizov, Rossi, Zuccarello on that top line, Johansson, Hartman, Boldy on the second, Foligno, Gaudreau, and Jones on the third, Gauntz, Hustendinov, and Shore on the fourth. Brodin, Faber on the top D pairing, Chisholm and Spurgeon on the second, Dermott and Bogosian on the third, and Fleury in net tonight for Minnesota. This is the second of four matchups. Last matchup between the two not too long ago, December 10th, being a 5-4 shootout victory for Minnesota. We'll see if Utah can get some revenge back tonight. Opening face-off, one back by Minnesota. Back into their own zone with a Chisholm pass over to Spurgeon. Trying to chip it up to Kaprizov. Not quite able to. Utah up the other way with it. Left side trying to dump it to Kraus in the left side corner. He'll get to it, trying to push it to Bukestad right side. Won't be able to. Minnesota will get to it first. Quick pass up out of the zone. Rossi tries to move up with it, but facing four guys alone, can't do much. Motto will pick it up instead. Moving left corner of the Utah zone, looking to clear it. He will. Minnesota will pick it right back up, though. Spurgeon will dump that into the Utah zone, trying to get to Kaprizov along the left side boards. He'll pick it up, force to push it around, though. Zuccarello will get to it. Pushing that back to the right side point for Spurgeon. Pass over Chisholm. Pass that one, or a shot that goes wide. Maselli will pick it up, looking to clear that out right side. Barely will. Minnesota will pick it up in neutral ice, though. Back into their own zone. They'll hold and wait for a change. 9:10 left in the first. Quick passing around in their own zone. Finally able to get it as Utah tries to pick it up. Not quite able to. They'll dump it in left side instead. Vmelka grabbed that behind the Utah net. Push that left side. Can't do much with it, though. Johansson trying to dig away at it. Bounce free into the middle. Utah will get to it first. Kessering will grab it. Pass from Keller. He'll push that into the middle of the Utah zone. Back to him, and he breaks out with it up the right side. Pass up to Schmaltz. Can't do anything with it. That puck picked away. Minnesota back up the other way, trying to break in as Boldy trying to get that pass across in front to Gaudreau. Won't be able to. Delayed penalty on Utah. Finally, they'll see that they touched the puck there. Minnesota to the box early. Cole with a 2-minute minor holding against Boldy. 18:30 left in the first, so a minute and a half in, and Utah already to the box. We'll see if they can continue that penalty kill that they have been over the last few games. It's been very good, or if this Minnesota penalty kill, not penalty kill, Minnesota power play can get things going. Left side draw one back by Minnesota. Spurgeon pass over to the right side for Boldy. Forced around with it. He'll get that back to the right point for Spurgeon. Big shot from the right side point. Saved in front. Rebound. Not able to be picked away by Minnesota. Utah will clear that all the way back down. Spurgeon there to pick it up. Moving up. He'll dump that back into the Minnesota zone. Left for Kaprizov. He'll dump that back to Boldy. He'll leave that for Zuccarello. Left side point. Trying to chip that over to the right side. Passes it just too much at an angle. It'll bounce out of the zone. Minnesota forced back to their own, and a minute 20 left in the power play now. Shot sitting 2-0 in favor of Minnesota. Boldy breaking through the middle, can't do much. Utah will pick that away and dump it all the way back down. Fleury will come out and he'll just leave that at the right side dot for Spurgeon. Minute 05 left in the Minnesota power play. Quick pass up to Kaprizov, trying to move in left side. He'll get it. He'll leave it for Zuccarello. Push it back to him, though. Utah trying to clear it out right side now. Boldy will keep it in. Spurgeon, pass over to Zuccarello, moving in from left side point. Pass Kaprizov in front, looks for a backhand. That one goes wide into the right side corner. Utah trying to dig for it. Rossi, Boldy, and Kaprizov all there fighting for it, though. 40 seconds left in the Minnesota power play now. Push back to the point. Zuccarello left side. Pass over to the right side for Boldy. Saved. Shot in front. Vamelka will hold, though. Gets just enough of that for the hold. Great passing there by Minnesota. Just finds that lane pretty much right through everybody to get that right over to Boldy on the right side. So far that Minnesota power play not able to really get the shots on net that they'd like, but they're getting the pressure if nothing else. 33 seconds left in the power play now. Shot sitting 4-0. Right side draw. Utah win that back. Mata looking to clear any will all the way back down to the Minnesota end. Shot sitting 4-0 in favor of Minnesota. 16:50 left in the first now. Faber, he'll leave that back in the Minnesota end. Quick pass up Johansson, moving in left side. Foligno trying to dig away at it, tied up by McBain. 10 seconds left in the Minnesota power play now. Will end up right corner. Johansson will push it behind the Utah net. Back to him on the right side. Faber in the slot. Utah clears that penalty. Right side back Johansson. Trying to find Gaudreau. Finds him, just too far with it. Cole fresh out the box. Big hit in the corner. Johansson back to Faber at the left side point. Throw something in front. That one fought for, but Vejmelka grabs just enough of it for the save. 16-13 left in the first now. As it's been all Minnesota so far, Utah getting back into that rhythm of that first few minutes, somewhere 3, 5, even 7 range, where they let the opponents control the game. We'll see if they decide if they're at the point of the game where they want to start taking over, or if really just they let Minnesota keep going with it. We'll see what happens. Left side draw in the Utah zone. Hayton Hartman on the draw. Hayton will win that back cleanly. Right side corner of the Utah zone, looking to clear it. They will into neutralize. Trying to get it to Schmaltz, won't be able to. It'll be chipped right over the line of the Minnesota end. Schmaltz and Hayton fighting for it. It'll end up left corner. Keller there to pick it up. Push back behind the Minnesota net. Hayton to pick it up right corner. Pass to Koliachanik. Over to Valimaki in the slot. Back over to Keller left side. Back to Koliachanik down in the left side point. Keller with it now. Bad pass, though, from him. It'll be chipped out of the Minnesota zone. I think he was trying to get that a little deeper than he wanted, but not able to find it. Keller moving in right through the center, trying to get that pass over to Hayton. Won't find it. Will end up left side boards of the Minnesota end. Both teams digging for it. 15.5. Will end up back behind the Minnesota end. Nobody there to fight for it. So they will just leave and wait for the change there. Looking for a pass up through neutral ice. Utah digging for it right at their own blue line. Brodin will pick it up at center ice. He'll dump that into the Utah zone. Utah trying to get that out left side. They will, as Minnesota wasn't able to get any passes into the front there. Back into their own zone. Quick pass up their neutral ice over to Zuccarello, I believe. Be tied up left side now. Gunther trying to get a pass in front through the Utah zone. He will, but not able to get that into the Minnesota end. Back up the other way. Minnesota trying to cut in front, won't be able to. Looking for a rebound in front, saved by Vejmelka instead. Utah looking to clear. It'll bounce up into neutral ice. Both teams digging for it. But push back to the Utah end. Vejmelka will come out to prevent any Minnesota from getting right in front there. He'll push that over to Mata, trying to move up, and Minnesota back up the other way. There's Kaprizov at the right side. Back over the left side point, racing in. I believe Chisholm there. The one there, that shot goes wide. Utah back up the other way. 14-10 left in the first now. Bukestad up the left side. Push that back behind the Minnesota end. Chisholm will try and push that into the left corner. Will end up back to him behind the net anyway. Now pass up to Zuccarello. He'll chip that all the way up. Trying to find Kaprizov, but Cole able to just get that out of the way in time. Utah regain control of it back in their own zone. Cole looking for a long pass up there neutral ice. Be chipped up by Kerfoot. Doesn't matter if it wouldn't have been offsides anyway. Beats him to it. Looks for a backhand in front. That one saved by Fleury. Now right side in the Minnesota end. Zuccarello and Kolichanik digging away at it. Both teams. Kolichanik will come away with it. Will end up right corner. Trying to push that back to the right side point. Won't be able to. Kaprizov back up the right side with speed. He'll slow. Minnesota looking for a centering pass. Won't find it. Big shot there. Saved in front by Vejmelka. Held up at the right side boards. Utah trying to clear. They finally will. Although play blown dead there. Not sure if that was an offsides or just... Yeah, just looks like a little offsides call there, so nothing major. 13-14 left in the first. Big action for Minnesota so far, but Utah, the defense and Vamelka keeping them in it so far. Listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. All Utah so far, or not all Utah, all Minnesota in the first so far, as Utah keeps themselves in it. Vamelka doing a great job of blocking those shots in front. The Utah defense doing as best they can so far, but stifling that Minnesota offense, especially with Kaprizov flying up that left side or that right side boards. It's going to be a big problem, especially seeing as they can get those passes in front very well. So we'll see if Utah can really battle through it. So far, about 7 minutes in, usually now if Utah wants to really take over this game, this is about the time they start doing it. Over the last few games, they've been better at starting it earlier, but it's been a struggle they've had to fight for the entire season so far. We'll see if they can do it. Right side draw in the Utah zone, won by Minnesota, will be pushed back behind the Utah net. Left corner with it. Gaudreau trying to get something. Utah steal away instead. Pass up to Schmaltz. Fumbles with it in neutral ice. Will be backed up by Mata. Over on the right side, Schmaltz will pick it up, looking for a pass in front. Shot, that one goes wide. Keller, I believe, the one coming up to get that shot. Right side boards in the Minnesota zone. He passed left side as they regain control of it. Moving up through neutral ice, trying to get a pass across to Brodin, won't find it. Be back down to the left side point for Boldy. Boldy forced to move up deep left side. Johansson with it now. Tied up along the boards, though. Gaudreau to help. Both teams digging away at it. 12:20 left in the first now. Schmaltz able to come away with it. Forced to stump that out lightly, though, to prevent the icing. Brodin will get to it first. Pressure by Utah there, but doesn't amount to much. McBain, the one with the diving down for pressure. Minnesota moving back up the other way. Passed through neutral ice. Chipped up into the Utah zone just barely. Be moved back out by Utah. Cutting in over the Minnesota line. Left for Cooley, right side. Moving into front. Trying to find a pass over the right side for Kessler. Gunther, a shot from the right side point. That one goes wide, hits a body. Now with left side, pushed back around by Utah. It'll catch a kind of piece of the boards there and end up in the left side corner. Chisholm with it. Quick passes up by Minnesota. Getting in, Chisholm with it. Right side of the Utah zone, looking for a centering pass. Nobody there to pick it up, though. Flynn will pick it up, push that back down the line for Spurgeon. Over the right side, shot looking for a rebound. Both times saved by Vamelka there. Utah looking to clear, and they will. Minnesota will pick it right back up in neutral ice, though. Spurgeon with it. Pass over to Hartman. Hartman poked away by Utah there. Cole the one to poke that away. It'll end up back down to the Minnesota end. Minute 05 left in the first now. Dumped into the Utah end. Cole get to it first, trying to leave that back for Mata. Maselli grab it along the left side boards instead. Pass back to Mata in the Utah end. Looking for a long pass up, won't find it. Just pass around neutral ice back into the Utah zone. Maselli with it. Doubles back again. Just can't get that entrance into the Minnesota end. Finally, they'll find along the left side boards. Bukestad with it. Looking for a centering pass, won't find it. Both teams digging away at it. Fleury able to just get that out and away. Held up in the right side corner. Minnesota finds a centering pass. Utah pick it up instead. Bukestad will be kept in at left side point. Back down to Bukestad at the slot. Looking for a shot in front. That one goes wide. Held in by Maselli at the left or the right side boards. Moving in with it, looking for Bukestad in front. That shot saved by Fleury. Valimaki a shot in front. Maselli looking for the backhand there, but can't quite find it in time. Has just not enough space. He's too far past the net and really doesn't see that he has that puck in time. 10:09 left in the first now. Shot sitting 7-2 in favor of Minnesota. So really just Vejmelka at this point keeping Utah in it. And especially this Minnesota defense doing a great job of just preventing Utah from even getting in the zone. Like not even letting them get in neutral ice at all, keeping them trapped back in their own zone, forcing the problem Utah had kind of early after they won those first 3 games, where teams would just stop them in their own zone, force them to dump it all the way out, and then just switch, can't get any offense going. Right side in the Minnesota zone will be poked back behind the Minnesota net. Utah looking to push that back down to the right side point. Nobody there to grab it in time. Model pick it up in neutral ice. Pass over to Sergachev. Looking for long passes up by Utah all the way back down to the Minnesota end. Fleury trying to push that out right side. Kaprizov will get to it first, but tipped up. Here's Minnesota back up the other way. Rossi, a pass across. Back to Kaprizov. Shot. That one goes in. Zuccarello, the third man on that one, and he gets the goal there. Just a little tic-tac-toe play there by Minnesota, and they are up 1-0 early. Just a beautiful little breakout there by Minnesota. Just Kaprizov tips that up out of his own zone. Rossi all the way up, finds Zuccarello, back to Kaprizov, and then at that time, Vejmelka's not even looking at Zuccarello, who at that point, right at the right side dot, leaves that side open. Can't get over in time. Beautiful goal there. Zuccarello, his 7th of the year. Kaprizov and Rossi with the assists, their 27th and 15th, respectively. 9:35 left in the first now. Back down behind the Utah net. Looking to push that out left side for Schmaltz. It will be bounced out of the zone, but Utah can't really gain control of it. Keller trying to find Schmaltz right over the blue line. Won't be able to. Gaudreau will pick it up instead. Back to Gaudreau as he just circles the Minnesota end, breaking through everybody. Chipped in right corner, still racing for it. Him and Cole battle for it instead. Pass in front by Rossi. Nobody there to pick it up instead. Utah back up the other way. Or Boldy, the one there, not Rossi. Pass back. Kesselring tried to get something there. Couldn't grab that pass, though. Kolechonic pass up to Keller. He'll leave that back through neutral ice. Over to Schmaltz with it. Back down to Valimaki. Just holding in his own zone, waiting for the change. 8:48. Shot setting 8-3 in favor of Minnesota. Here's Cooley cutting in right in front. He'll get that over to McBain along the left side. Shot in front and they score. Just a little tip in front there, and Utah able to tie this one up early. McBain just looks like he throws that one at the net, and Fleury doesn't quite have control of it. Gunther just taps it in as he's right in front, right at the right space, right time. Yeah, Cooley breaks in. He gives that over to McBain. Yeah, he just throws that in, and Fleury gets the pad save, but it just bounces off either Gunther or who's the other Minnesota man up there? Dermott, the other one up there. Just bounces off either of them, and Gunther able to just grab enough of it. Gunther, his 15th of the year. McBain, his 5th assist of the year. And I'm sure they'll give it to Cooley as well whenever they want to update it on the app. So 8:40 in the span of almost a minute there. This game goes from tied at 1-0, and back to tied again. 8:40 left in the first. Center ice draw. Minnesota will push that right along the red line. They'll pick it up left side boards. Looking to dump that in. Vejmelka will kind of slow that into the right corner for Sergachev. Back over to Motter left side. Trying to find Kraus along the left side boards. Rossi not able to keep it. Back up the other way is Utah. Maselli. He'll chip that in left corner, trying to beat out Bogosian. Bukestad will pick it up right side. Pressured by Rossi. He'll keep control of it along the right side boards. Push deep down to the line instead. Forced to dump that into the corner. Picked up by Utah along the left side boards, though. Kraus will push that back to the point. Bukestad back over to the left side. Shot hits the body in front. Can't do much of it. Can't do much with it. Minnesota will push that back to the left corner. Bukestad shot saved by Fleury. That one bounced to the right side. Minnesota finally looking to clear, and they will. Bogosian with it. Moving up left side into the Utah zone. Tries to leave that back for Kaprizov. Won't find it. Here's Maselli moving in. Instead, just dumps that right corner. Doesn't try to break through. 3-on-1 there. Will be a delayed penalty. Maselli, believe, will take a tripping call there, but still Minnesota's puck. So Fleury to the bench for the extra attacker. 7:25. Minnesota back in their own zone. Kaprizov with it. Cutting through center. Will pass that over to the right side. Trying to find shot in front. That one saved. I believe Shore, the one there. Or I wasn't sure. Whoever it was missed the shot. Right side or left side for Boldy. Back down. Back to Boldy left side. Still delayed penalty on Utah. Looking for a tip in front. Won't find it. Kaprizov. Back down to the point. Brodin, the one with the shot earlier, as he passes that left side. Faber with it, right point. Back to Brodin. Back to Boldy, left side. Can't quite keep control of it. Utah finally determined to have touched that puck. So back to the box. Utah will go. This game, Minnesota starts the scoring early, and then Gunther magically ties that up off a lucky bounce. But if it's in, it's in. This one tied at 1, but Utah going to the box. You're listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. Utah back to the box as Minnesota on the power play. Maselli taking a 2-minute tripping against Brodin in the corner off the last kind of rush there. So we'll see if that Utah penalty kill can do what they did in that first one and kill it off again, or if this Minnesota power play, angry about that tying goal, if they can get one in. Left side draw in the Utah zone. Sergachev with it. As Utah wins that back, looking to clear, barely will. Zuccarello racing for it. Be dumped back into the Minnesota end. Spurgeon with it. Leave it back. Here's Kaprizov. Dumps that in right side corner. Boldy able to get to it first. Trying to push that over to Zuccarello left side corner, or left side point. He will. Spurgeon back to him at the left side, moving up with it. Back to Spurgeon in the slot. Zuccarello with it, moving down. He'll pass that up to Kaprizov. Looking for a cross-ice pass, tipped back. Will end up behind the Utah net, but still able to get over to Rossi along the right side boards. Back to Kaprizov behind the Utah net, but able to pick that away as Utah, and they'll dump that all the way back down. 6 minutes left in the first. Shots currently sitting 8-6 in favor of Minnesota. Looking for another rush here. Kaprizov can't quite get in on the entrance he wants there. Zuccarello will try. He'll get that in, dumps that right side. 1 minute left in the Minnesota power play. Kaprizov, he'll dump that back to Boldy left side. Back in front, down at the slot, it's Zuccarello. Back to Boldy left side, right back to him though. Boldy behind the Utah net, circling right corner. Looking for Zuccarello. That one tipped, barely bounces out though. Zuccarello almost keeps that in. Quick passes up by Minnesota. Boldy able to get in the zone, trying to leave that for Rossi along the right side or left side board. So bounce back behind the Utah net instead. Push right corner. McBain, the only person there to grab it, looking to clear, and he will all the way back down to the Utah or the Minnesota end. 25 seconds left on the power play now. Minnesota, it's Favor back in his own zone. Pushing up, he'll leave that back. Minnesota moving up, cutting through the middle, trying to get a pass over to Johansson, won't find it. I believe Gaudreau, the one trying to push that rush there. Back down to the right or left side for Foligno. He'll push in 4 seconds, tipped back behind the Utah net, and they will kill off that power play. Held in at the right side by Minnesota. Fresh from the box, Maselli. Tipped shot in front. Gaudreau looking for one there, but Vamelka makes a save. Chipped out by Utah all the way back down. Faber will get to it first, but not without pressure from Hayton. Able to grab that and neutral ice is Utah. Back down in their own zone. This is a pass, though, and Minnesota right back with control. 4:25 left in the first now. Faber, leave that over for Chisholm. Right back to Faber, though, as he gets for the change. 4:15 now. Shot setting 9-6 in favor of Minnesota. Game tied at 1. Minnesota looking for long stretch passes up. It'll end up all the way down, and they will call an icing on that. Real close there on the race between both players there. But still, they decide that is an icing. There it is. Finally, the decides to give Cooley the assist on that last Utah goal. Cooley, his 22nd of the year. Minnesota on the power play there had some good chances, definitely some good shots, but that Utah penalty kill, able to poke it out at the right times, really prevent those rushes in when needed. So great job for them. Right side draw in the Minnesota zone, barely kept in. Keller looking for a shot in front, saved by Fleury. He just finds the right slot there as everybody's kind of deep on that play. Regardless, kept out by Fleury, game still tied at 1. 3:59 left in the first, game tied at 1. We'll see if anybody can break this tie before period's end or if we go into the second tied all the same. Listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. .359 left in the first. Both teams tied at 1. Minnesota had the last power play opportunity. Some good chances there, but ultimately that Utah penalty kill keeps this game tied at 1. We'll see if anybody can break this tie. Utah doing a lot better after those first few minutes, like has been so commonly seen. So this offense getting something going, although granted that goal was off a lucky bounce. We'll see if they can get one actually put in. Left side draw in the Minnesota end. Hayton, Gaudreau on the draw, although Hayton will switch. Maybe he won't. He will. Schmaltz now on the draw. So finally get that figured out. Doesn't matter when Minnesota wins it all the same. Looking to clear that out left side. Barely bounces over the line. Sergachev trying to keep that in. Forced just dump it instead. Fleury will leave it behind the Minnesota net. He'll push that left corner as he's pressured by Utah there. Sergachev trying to keep that in. Boldy fighting him for it. It'll end up in the left corner. Faber now trying to clear that. He'll barely bounce out left side. Motto will pick it up and neutral ice, though. Back into his own zone. Motto with it. Looking for a long pass up through neutral ice. Keller on the right side can't quite get into the zone. Will be chipped right back out by Minnesota. Finally, it'll be dumped back into the Utah end. Would have been offsides for Minnesota, though, so they get to kind of regain that control, slow that puck down for a second. Keller back to the red line. Pass up to Schmaltz, chipping that in right side. Kesselring racing in, trying to get a pass across. Can't get the shot off in time. Hayton, the one trying to get that shot there. Minnesota looking to clear that out, and they will. Gunther will pick it right back up. Quick passes back up by Utah, though. Kesselring forced to dump that in right side of the Minnesota end. Husnudinov with it in the left side corner, trying to do something. He'll pick it right back up. He'll push that back in the right corner. Minnesota back with it. Chisholm trying to clear that further, not quite able to. McBain will pick that up through neutral ice. Unable to get in on the first attempt. Kesselring will try on the second, forced to just dump it in the right side corner instead. Chisholm will get to it first, pushing that left side. Looking to get that to Foligno. He'll get it to him. He'll get that in left side of the Utah zone. McBain will get to it first, though. 2:22 left in the first now. Kesselring will pick it right back up. Pass up to Gunther. Back to McBain, or back to Cole, trying to chip that in further into the Minnesota end, but goes to the bench all the same. Foligno pass back into the Minnesota end as they also go for a change. Long pass up by Minnesota. Hayton trying to race for it. Will end up to Maselli left side as Utah looking to break out of their own zone. They will. Moving up with it is Krause. Trying to get it to Foligno along the left side. Not able to get much in the way of passing there. Minnesota back up the other way. Gauntz with it right side. He'll push that around to the left side instead. Will end up behind the Utah net. Gauntz trying to push that back to the left side corner. Can't quite do much with it. Utah back up the other way. Kolyachonok with it. Forced to just dump it as he's pressured along the left side or right side boards. Minute and a half left. Both teams just kind of rushing it back up and forth. Krause trying to keep that in at the line. No delayed call there, though. Bukestad moving up the right side, trying to get a shot from the short side. Won't find it. Fleury makes a save. Kept in by Utah, though. Sergachev pushing that over to the left side. Saved in front by Fleury. Back to Sergachev right in the slot. Looks for another one. Hits the body in front. Can't quite do much. Shot. Carcone, I believe, the one there. Doesn't matter. Goes wide. Rossi. He'll push that back behind the Minnesota net. Looking to clear that all the way back and down, and they will. Utah back down in their own zone. 50 seconds left in the first. Utah with it. Kerfoot moving in right side. Will be pushed to the left corner instead as he just circles the zone. Trying to get back into the slot. Shot from the right side. Carcone, that one catches the body and pushed back to the side. Kaprizov with it. Looking to chip that up through neutral ice. Rossi tries to get that pass right back to him. Utah will pick it right back up in their own zone, though. 25 seconds left. Chip back up through neutral ice. Utah looking for a rush here. Pass over to Carcone along the right side boards, but they deem that offsides. 19.7, I believe, left in the first. It's something like that. Not much time. Utah doing it well. Both teams, I guess, doing really a great job of just getting rushes back and forth, not letting the other do much with it. Goaltending being a big factor so far. Yes, 19.7 left in the first. Shot sitting 9-8 in favor of Minnesota. Right side dot outside the Minnesota zone. Hayton Gaudreau on the draw. One back by Utah. Model will pick it up. Pass over to Sergachev. Quick passes up by Utah. Keller will get it into the zone. Pass up to Hayton. Forced to ring that around to the right side boards. Minnesota looking to clear that all the way back down. They will. 5 seconds left. Sergachev there to pick it up. 2, and that will be the end of the first. Final shots at the end of the first, unless they fix it during intermission, but that's a problem for then. 9-8 in favor of Minnesota. Both teams doing better over that second, really last 7 minutes there. Doing a great job, rushes back and forth. Goaltending, very hot tonight. We'll see if either team can find the answer to both Vejmelka and Fleury, really get the offense going so far. But as it stands now, tied at 1. Listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801 Utah Hockey Radio. We'll see you back in 15 for the second. Welcome back as we get ready to start the second period. Both teams tied at 1. Some stats before going into the second. Shots sitting 9-8 in favor of Minnesota. Faceoffs currently sitting 7-5 in favor of Minnesota as well. Utah, no power plays for them in the first. Minnesota 0 for 2. Hits sitting tied at 3, and blocked shots sitting 4-2 in favor of Minnesota. Both teams, some good chances on those last few rushes, and really that last little bit of the period there. But goaltending being the big thing that's keeping mainly Utah, but Minnesota in at times in this game. Vamelka, this game could have easily been, 3-0, 4-0 by now. Minnesota's had great chances, but Vamelka has kept Utah in it so far. Though they have relied on him at times to really keep him in games, if they can get the offense going in the second, or at least limit the chances that Minnesota has, that will be crucial for him. Minnesota, on the other hand, needs to take advantage of the fact that they have such, the majority of the offensive pressure at times, and really find the passes or the slot shots or anything to get it past Vamelka, build that lead, put that pressure on Utah early, not give them a chance to come back at all. We'll see what happens here as we get ready for the opening face-off. We can finally cut to it. If we can cut away from Bukestad, eventually we'll drop this puck. Maybe. Good Lord. There we go. People are finally up at the dot. Here we go. Start of the second. Finally. Took forever. Opening faceoff, one back by Minnesota. Chisholm trying to push that up the left side boards. Kaprizov will grab it and neutral ice instead. Trying to push that along the left side board. Zuccarello will dump that in instead. He'll pick it right back up at the line. Back over to Kaprizov, right side shot in front. Saved by Vamelka. Push back right corner. Kaprizov still with it. Rossi able to push that along the left side boards. Nobody there. It'll be pushed all the way back down around to the left side for Kaprizov again. Pass in front. That one not really held well by Kaprizov. Utah back up the other way. It's Bukestad with it, trying to chip that in right side. Be poke checked away on net, though. Spurgeon will grab it. Quick pass back into his own zone as Chisholm up with it. Moving up the left side into the left corner. Trying to get that pass back down to the point, but picked away by Utah instead. Zuccarello doing a great job of pressuring that back behind the Utah net. Utah still able to clear that up into neutral ice. Gaudreau trying to dig at it, but Keller will keep control as he moves that back down to the Utah end. Cole with it. Pass up through neutral ice. Be chipped into the Minnesota end just for a second, though. Pass to Gaudreau. That one goes wide. Be picked up along the right side boards by Johansson instead. Circling along to the left side. Pass back down to left point. Faber with it now, right side. Quick pass up the left side. Or up to the right side, I should say, for Rossi. Back to Johansson, circling back down to the left side point. Pressure, though. Pass that up the left side instead. Looking for Gaudreau in front. Can't quite find the rebound there as he has that first shot initially saved. Looking to clear that out right side as Utah. Kept in, though, by Brodin. Finally, Utah's able to regain control of it. Moving back up the other way. Keller slows right at the left side point. Pushes that up for Schmaltz. He'll get that to Hayden. Back down to Kolyachonok at the right side point, fighting for it. He'll keep it in. Utah goes for a change, but Minnesota will regain control, moving up with it. Oldie up the left side. Can't quite do much with it, though, and Utah will regain control, looking for a long pass up. No ice, or yes, they will call an icing there. Actually, looked like they weren't going to for a second there, but ultimately they decided they will. 17:58 left in the second. Minnesota coming out of the period on fire. Gaudreau with a great chance in front there. See that again on the replay. Yeah, kind of has to move that back right in front. Can't quite catch the rebound. He might have been able to put that in, but that at that point, too far gone. Shots 11-9 in favor of Minnesota. Left side draw in the Utah end. One back by Minnesota. Quick pass down to the slot, saved by Vamelka. Minnesota doing a better, just continuing that pressure they had in the first of just getting those shots on net, hoping something goes in. Although Vamelka really keeping Utah in it so far. Although as this game goes on, unless he can pull another 49 save performance like he did against Carolina a few weeks back, Utah's going to need to get that offense going. Left side draw again in the Minnesota zone, or in the Utah zone. Hustadinov on the draw, but kicked out. Hartman and Stenlin on the draw. Puck drop, tied up at the dot. Minnesota will push that into the left corner. Foligno trying to dig away at it. Will end up back behind the Utah net. Sergachev there to pick it up. Cross pass ice in his own zone. Quick pass up to Stenlin. Forced to dump that into the Minnesota zone. Fleury trying to stop that. Can't quite do it as well as he'd like. Will end up in front. Utah trying to keep it in. Maselli will be forced out of the zone instead. Stenlin passed over to Sergachev. Out of the zone as Utah chips that up. Carconi with it. Trying to race, or Carconi with the chip up into the zone. Trying to race for it. Not quite able to. Minnesota will regain control. Moving up out of the zone with it. Chipped up to Foligno. Left side point. Looking for a tip in front to Hartman. Won't find it. Bounce back out of the Utah zone as Kerfoot regains control of it. Pressured by Foligno, so back down to the Utah zone. Long pass up right back to Kerfoot, though. Pressured along the left side boards. Tries to push that around. Instead, goes for a change. Minnesota regains control neutral ice. Rossi with it. Trying to get it up to Kaprizov. Bukestad will steal it away instead. Quick pass up to Maselli. Left side dot looking for a shot. That one tips up into the netting, it looks like, and it will play blown dead. 16:42 left in the first. Shot sitting 12-9 in favor of Minnesota. Minnesota with the majority of the rushes on that last kind of section there, but Utah over the last little bit there, good rushes there, especially Maselli on that last chance. Moves in, sees that everybody's pushed the center, so he doesn't try and pass or anything, gets in front, holds and waits for a shooting lane, finds it, but bounces at either Fleury catches a piece, hits the bar, whatever, bounces up into the netting, but a good job just waiting for that opportunity there. Left side draw on the Minnesota end, kept in by Utah as they win that draw back. It'll end up right corner. Fable will get to it first, pressured by Bukestad, though. Minnesota back up the other way. Rossi cutting in front, looking for a shot. That one hits a body in front. Ends up along the right side boards. Him and Schmaltz fighting for it. Utah looking to clear. Zuccarello almost keeps that in. Doesn't quite. The Minnesota will regain control back in their own zone. Faber looking for a long pass up. Be pushed back. Or at least will be pushed into the Utah zone for an offsides, though, so can't get anything going on that rush. Although, granted, I don't really expect them, at least on that one, I don't think they were expecting to get much on that rush, because I don't even think they were expecting that to bounce back in. So, regardless, 16-14 left in the second now. So, outside the Minnesota zone will be the face-off. We'll see if Utah can win this, break in, and maybe finally get some real pressure going. Not going to be able to, as Minnesota will win that draw. Bounces that into the Utah zone. Vmelko will push that out left side, though. McBain will pick it up in neutral ice. Pass over to Gunther, but just barely offsides there as he tries to reach that skate back and touch that blue line. Just can't quite. So offsides again for Utah. Struggle, like I pointed out in the last game, this should only be a small problem, but if they can keep up this issue of trying to get in and getting off sides, much like the Buffalo game where Buffalo had that problem, you can't get anything going. So they're going to need to tighten that before that becomes a major issue. Minnesota back in their own zone with it, looking to clear it out. They will. They'll pick it up in neutral ice. Shore will push that in left corner. Utah will grab it back, though, in the right side. McBain, that pass goes a little too far. Kept in by Minnesota. Shore behind the net. Dancing with it. It'll be pushed back to the right side. Spurgeon, push that down to the right side point. Right back up to him. Trying to circle the net left side. Get that back down to the left side point. Barely kept in by Minnesota. Pressured all the way back down. Tied up on the left side corner now. Kulichonic and Valimaki trying to race for it. Hartman will pick it up instead, looking to try and spin and get that shot on net. Doesn't get anything there, but he'll pick up the shot again, looking for a quick little backhand. That one, quick little save by Vmelka. Shot ends up right side, just throwing in from the point there. Hustadinov looking for a tip in front, won't find it. Vmelka will find the puck, though, and he'll keep that in his glove for the save. 14:49 left in the second now. Minnesota back in the offensive zone, back on pressure, doing a great job of, while they're doing a great job getting the shots on. Utah doing a decent job of keeping those shots to the outside, not letting them get to the center of the net or really anywhere in the slot, forcing them deep, forcing them in spots where they can't really get those passes. So even though Minnesota has that pressure going for them, they're not able to capitalize on anything they have because Utah's doing a great job so far of keeping them to the outside. Husnudinov and Kerfoot on the draw, right side Utah zone. Kerfoot win that back cleanly. Kessering with it, looking to clear that out, and he will. Tries to find Carcone all the way down. He will pick it up. Forced into the left corner, though. Pressured by Husnudinov, it looks like. Back up the other way, Minnesota. Hartman, he'll push that in along the left side boards. Cole get to it first, looking to clear that out left side. Carcone, it'll bounce into neutral ice. Right back to him, though. Moving in, a diving poke check away by Foligno. Nicely done there by him. Husnudinov will pick that up. He'll leave that back behind the Minnesota net for Bogosian. Pass up to Boldy. Get a long stretch pass up by Minnesota. Husnudinov with it again. Tied up along the left side boards, though. Can't do much. Foligno trying to dig away at it. He'll keep control. Pass over to Brodin. Right side. Shot one. That one goes wide. Almost looked like that one went in. Just misses the net there. Faber all the way back down to the Minnesota end. Krause trying to race forward. He'll end up left side. Maselli will grab it. Pushing that back over to the right corner. Krause will grab it. Trying to find Foligno behind the net. Delayed penalty on Minnesota. Brodin will be taking a 2-minute tripping against Bukestad. So Utah with their first power play opportunity of the game. We'll see if they can capitalize on that after the commercial here. But good rushes by both teams. Good opportunity. We'll see if this is the spark Utah needs. The power play's been playing great recently. We'll see if that continues. Listening to Utah Wild on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. 13:43 left in the second. Utah heading to the power play off that tripping by Brodin. This Utah power play doing great over these last few games. We'll see if that continues, especially if they can, on their only power play opportunity, do better than Minnesota has on the last two. In the same vein there, if this Minnesota penalty kill can match how Utah was doing, this should be very easily won by them. Right side draw, almost poke checked away by Foligno there. Shot from the right side by Keller. That one goes wide. Gunther tries to keep that in, won't be able to. Bounce all the way back down to the Utah end. 13 and a half left in the second. Sergachev, he'll leave that back for Keller. Moving up through center, he'll pass that over to Schmaltz. He'll push that in right side. Minnesota will get to it first. Keller trying to dig away at it. Instead, it'll be cleared, but barely. It'll bounce back in just for a second, though. Would have been an offsides. So Minnesota regains control, pushing that all the way back down to the Utah end. Sergachev with it. Leaves it back. Keller pass over to Schmaltz, right side for Gunther. Run around for Cooley down at the left side point. Husnudinov doing a great job pressuring, and it'll end up back to the left side corner. Keller, he'll push that all the way back around for Gunther. We'll end up back down to the left side point. We push back around by Sergachev. He catches an edge there, can't do much with it. Right corner back with it. Utah just trying to regain control. Minnesota, if nothing else, doing a great job of just passing it around their own zone. If you're not going to be able to clear it, at least make sure the opponent doesn't have the puck, and doing a great job of that so far. 12 and a half left as Minnesota tries to clear that. It looks like that one goes out of play instead, so can't get the clear like they wanted. 48 seconds left on the Utah power play. Shot sitting 13-9 in favor of Minnesota. Utah has had good chances off that face-off there. They had the good shot. And then after that, it's been all Minnesota on this penalty kill so far. Doing a great job of clearing it when they need to. Doing a great job of diving at pucks. Just really doing anything to prevent any shots on net. Right side draw, one back by Utah. Keller, pass over to Maselli. Moving up left side into the corner. Back down to the point for Kesselring. Kesselring the one on that initial shot, not Keller there. It'll end up back down to the Utah zone regardless. 30 seconds left on the Utah power play. Kesselring moving up with it. Instead decides to leave that back for Maselli. Maselli cutting in left side, pass over to the right side instead. Back to Kesselring down at the point. 20 seconds. Pass over to Maselli at the left side dot. Over to Carcone right side. Kesselring at the slot, back over to Carcone right side. Can't quite find the shooting lane he wants. He'll try and get that to Kraut. Instead, Minnesota will pick that away. Hits a body, but would have been an offsides for Utah regardless. 4 seconds, and Minnesota will kill off that penalty. Still tied at 1, 11:40 left. Maselli moving up ice. Cutting in right side, trying to chip that off the boards to himself. Kaprizov will pick it up instead. Minnesota back up the other way. Pass over to Faber. Moving in right side. Pass in front, left down for Kaprizov. Left down for Zuccarello. Shot there, bounces up over the crease. Both teams, or not both teams, Vejmelka didn't know where that ended up, but it bounced into the left corner instead. As it looked like Kaprizov was racing to try and put that rebound in. Regardless, wasn't able to. Minnesota back up the other way as Utah's barely able to clear that. And they will call that an icing, as it looks like that was just barely over the red line. Both teams getting a little chippy behind the net after the call there. Yeah, looking again on this replay here, Faber gets that pass in front to Zuccarello, just kind of bounces and barely. Oh, Vejmelka does make the save on that one. Yeah, it bounces up kind of right past the net. Vejmelka able to get that pad across just in time as Kaprizov knows that puck's ending up that way, races around the net to try and put that one in, not able to. 11:09 left in the second now. Utah zone for the faceoff. Or back down to the Minnesota end for the faceoff. Right side draw. Minnesota will win that one back, looking to clear it. And they will all the way, or not. They will clear it, but clear it not as well as they'd like. So that ends up in the benches instead. 11:04 now left in the second. We'll see if either team can really, well, I'll say either team gets something going. Minnesota can just keeps getting the shots on net that they have been and get, something in is what they need. Utah just needs to get into the Minnesota zone and actually get some quality time in the zone instead of just a rush or two up the other way. Put something in. We'll see, though. Right side draw in the Utah zone. One back, Sergachev with it. Shot in front, looking for the rebound. Shot, and they'll score. Utah barely puts that one in off a rebound. We'll see on the replay how wrong I was there, but how barely that was. Regardless, Utah up 2. Or up 2-1 with a lead of 1. You know what I mean. Off the face-off, one right side. Will get it to Sergachev. Shot in front. It just bounces right into the front. And McBain, the one to pick up that puck, just puts that in right corner. Luckily, that wasn't any few seconds later as him and Kerfoot actually collide into each other on that one. So gets that one in when it, right before something gets worse there. McBain, his 10th goal of the season. Kerfoot and Sergachev with the assists, their 8th and 16th, respectively. So Utah with a lead, if nothing else, capitalizing. We'll see what happens here. Looks like they're reviewing that one, actually. Refs are over to the box. We'll see what they're looking at here. Looks like they're looking to see if goaltender interference is on the call here. My guess is in that scrum in front there. We'll see on the replay here. Yeah, I don't know if they're looking at goaltender interference or if that puck went in, or I don't know what they were looking at there, but all looks clean to me. I can't imagine what they would even be looking at because the puck clearly goes in. You can see it on the left side there of the net. You can see it bulge out. See again on the replay. Yeah, that one clearly in, and there's no goaltender interference at all. Nobody's even in the crease. Everybody's a good step away from it. So I can't imagine what this one would even be looking at. I guess just in this tightly contested game, just making sure they get the right call here. Yeah, I'm not even sure what they're taking so long to even look at. They might have an angle or a replay of something that they're not showing on the broadcast here, but I don't know. All right, scratch that. Apparently there was goaltender interference somewhere. So game tied at 1 again. What? Where? Oh, okay. I see on the replay here. Stenlin does push the pad of Fleury out of the way. Yeah, that's all right. Missed that on the first few watches there, but yeah, definitely that's goaltender interference there. Just real subtle there, but good catch by either the refs or Minnesota there to challenge that one. So this game tied at 1 still. 11 minutes left in the second, and we're back to tied at 1. Left side draw outside the Minnesota zone. Utah win it back. Push back behind their own net instead. Keller with it. Breaking out of the right side. Chipping that up in. Will end up right corner. Brodin will get to it first. Keller will pick it up in the right corner instead, though. Trying to get that up to Hayton. Schmaltz pick it up, pushing that all the way around to Valimaki at the left side. Force push that back down to Schmaltz. Will be rung all the way back around to Cole right side. He'll push that back down to the right corner instead. Pass in front by Minnesota, and they're back up the other way. Boldy, pass across left side. That one shot. Saved by Vamelka. Back down the other way is Utah. Keller moving in left side. Chip that in behind the Minnesota net, and they'll regain control. Brodin with it. Trying to push that out left side. Sergachev racing to keep it in. Won't be able to. Gaudreau will get to it first. Tied up and neutralized. Boldy will push that back to the Minnesota end just for a second, though. Johansson tries to get that in, but Mott will pick it away instead. Coley moving up the left side. Will be bounced out by Minnesota, though. Utah will regain control back in their own zone. 9:45 left in the second now. McBain moving in, looking for another one to battle out that one that was taken away from him. Will end up left corner instead. Pass in front. Gunther, that one's saved by Fleury. Bounce back down to the left side point. Sergachev with it. Moving down the line to the right point with it. Pushing that up into the right corner for Mata. Circling that back down to the left side point. Slowing, just moving that around, trying to get that behind the net for Gunther. It'll be picked away by Minnesota instead. Looking to clear, they will. As Cooley races for it all the way back down to the other end. No icing on that play, though. Utah's the one to dump that all the way down. Cooley trying to chip that in, but it looks like, yep, that one bounces into the benches instead, so play blown dead there. Almost had a 2-1 lead for Utah, but ultimately that one the correct call there, goaltender interference, so we're back to being tied at 1. Listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. With a little over half left to play, both teams tied at 1. Some good chances by both teams in the second. Once again, it's been goaltending all tonight. Utah, when they've had chances in the zone, Fleury's been keeping Minnesota in it, but definitely Vejmelka keeping Utah in it most times, I would say. A lot of saves and a lot of blocked shots there. Since Minnesota's had that zone time, you're going to need to rely on Vejmelka, especially since you're not getting that offensive zone time. Utah back up the other way, forced into the right corner. 8:50 left in the second now. Minnesota trying to dig it away and clear it out. Kaprizov trying to grab it. Won't be able to. Kesselring looks like will keep control of it. Schmaltz will regain control of it, not Kesselring there. Doesn't matter. Zuccarello, long pass up, trying to find Kaprizov there. Won't. Utah will pick it back up. Mata looking to clear that out along the right side. Pass back in front. Kaprizov with it. Slowing down, trying to find a pass to Zuccarello. Tip in front. That one goes wide. Rossi with a beautiful chance there right in front. That one just goes wide. Spurgeon will keep it in. Pushing that around behind the Utah net. They'll regain control of it. Quick pass up to Kraus, looking to move that out of their own zone. They will be chipped into the Minnesota end right side. Bukestad 2-on-1 though, can't do much. Back up the other way. Zuccarello looking for a long pass to Kaprizov. Will find him, but behind the Utah net in the left corner. Pass over to Hustadinov. Tied up along the left side boards, be pushed out of the Utah zone, but he will keep fighting for it. Carcone or Maselli, Carcone, one trying to regain control there. Shot right on net for Vejmelka with the easy save there. 7:48 left in the second now. Shot setting 15-10 in favor of Utah. That top line for Minnesota, Kaprizov, Rossi, Zuccarello, doing a great job of not only getting the offense going in the Utah zone, but getting those great passes and tic-tac-toe plays. Especially, got to remember, that was how that first goal was scored for Minnesota. So just Kaprizov finding everybody right at the right time, putting those passes right where they need to be. A great job by them tonight. Right side draw in the Utah zone as they win that back, cleared all the way back down to neutral ice. Minnesota will chip it right back in. Not as far as they would have liked, but back up the other way is Utah. Kerfoot up the left side, pressured. He'll get that back to the thought. Big shot by Stenlin, it looks like, or by Cole. Doesn't matter, as saved by Fleury regardless. 7:29 left in the second now. Utah hoping to really get some sustained pressure in the Minnesota zone. They've had trouble with that all night, where they have, unlike Minnesota, they have not been able to get set up in the zone for an extended period of time. They've had chances where, they've had a shot here or there, and then Minnesota picks it away cleanly back up the other way. Left side draw in the Minnesota zone. They'll win it. Faber with it, looking to move that up left side boards. Be tied up instead, push back to Faber. Looking to move that up on the second chance here up the right side. He'll get it. Doesn't go as fast as he wants to. Valimaki will be able to get to it behind the Utah net first. Push back behind it. Utah's not able to clear, but they end up right corner instead. Both teams still digging away at it. Hartman trying to keep it in. Kolichan will grab it behind the Utah net. Moving up with it now. Pass and barely not chipped into the Minnesota zone. Gunther will get it. Or no, he won't get it on the second try. Bounce back to the Utah zone. Kolichan with it. He'll hold and wait for the change. Pass up through neutral ice. Over to Hayton up the left side. Trying to get a tip in front. Shot saved in front by Fleury. Just a soft little one there. Schmaltz trying to keep that in. Minnesota will grab it. Moving back up the other way. Rossi. Or Shore, the one there trying to get that in. Doesn't matter. It'll bounce out of the Utah zone regardless. Chisholm will pick it up. Pushing that back into the Utah zone. Vejmelka will grab it behind the Utah net. He'll leave it. Kesselring with it. 6:15 left in the second now. He'll hold, wait for some fresh skaters. Kell will come behind the net to pick that up. Quick passes up by Utah Hayden. He'll get that over to Cole, looking for a pass over to the right side. Keller will pick it up. Catches an edge, though, falls back behind the net. Hayden there to pick it up in the right corner. Doesn't matter, picked away by Minnesota. Pass over to Spurgeon. Play blown dead, though. Not sure if they're calling. Yes, they are. There will be a penalty on that play there. Gaunt's will be taking a 2-minute minor for interference against Hayton. So Utah back to the box. Or not. Good Lord. Got that completely back. Utah back on the power play. We'll see if I can get this called correctly after the commercial break here, but we'll see if Utah on their second power play opportunity can regain, I guess, that lead that they held momentarily. You're listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801 Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. 5:51 left in the second. Utah back on the power play. Our second of the game so far, second of the period, actually. We'll see if they can get something going here, especially if you're Utah, even if you're not going to score on this power play here, if you can stay in the zone, that will be improvement. Because the only really big rush they had on that first power play was off the initial draw. After that, Minnesota doing a great job poking that puck out of the zone and really keeping them deep. We'll see what happens. Right side draw kept in by Utah. Gunther a shot. That one saved by Fleury. He'll pick it back up, back over to Sergachev, over to Keller right side, looking for a shot deep to Cooley. Back to Keller right side with it. Forced in the corner. He'll get it to Cooley behind the net. Back over to Keller. He'll find Gunther in the slot. Back to Sergachev, deep down at the point. Keller and Schmaltz trying to find something. Ken will end up back to Sergachev. Back over to Keller right side. Pressured by Foligno. Trying to move up with it. He'll find Cooley behind the net. Back to Keller, though. Tries to find Schmaltz in front. He'll end up left side point. And it won't be kept in by Utah, but it will be an offsides. Minnesota looking to clear that all the way back down. Big shot there, and they will. 1:08 left in the Utah power play now. 4:55 left in the second. Here comes Utah back up the other way. Keller trying to get in. Poke checked away by Minnesota, though, and cleared all the way back down again. Melka will come out, and he'll leave that in the left side corner for Kesselring. Moving back up with it. Kesselring, he'll dump that back into the Utah zone for Carcone. Moving up the right side, he'll leave it back up to Carcone, though. Him and Bukestad tied up along the right side boards. Faber trying to grab it. Doesn't matter. Minnesota will clear it all the same. Back down to the Utah end. 30 seconds left on the Utah power play now. Krause will pick it up, and he'll leave that back in the Utah end for Kesselring. Pressured by Hustadinov, he'll leave that back again. Here's Maselli with it. Pass over to Krause, left side, trying to move that up to him. Pass just goes wide behind the Minnesota net. Pushing that to the left side point. Nobody there, and all the way back down that will go. Kesselring will grab it in the Utah zone. 5 seconds left in the Utah power play. Able to get that into the zone. Poke checked right away at the end of it, though. Minnesota clears off another penalty tonight in very easy fashion. Maselli tries to chip that in right corner as he goes for a change. Not quite able to. Long pass up by Minnesota. Can't quite regain control, though. Will be an offsides, though. Or not an offsides, an icing. Although that one he could have called close there. Not too sure about that one really being an icing. That one was quite close. Kaprizov was pretty much right at the line with him. We'll see here on the replay how close that one was. Yeah, I guess Cole did touch it first, so understandable there. Regardless, back down to the Minnesota zone we will go. 3:37 left in the second. Shot setting 15-11 in favor of Minnesota. Left side draw, Kerfoot. And someone on the draw. It'll be Boldy, quick shot in front by Stedlin. That one will be kept in at the right side point by Mata. Back to him, over to Sergachev in the center slot. Looking for a shot, hits a body in front. Can't do anything with it there. Looks like that one hit Kerfoot, actually. Mata trying to move that in right side. He will be forced to push it deep instead, though. Be picked up behind the Minnesota net. It's McBain trying to do something with it, but catches an edge. Stenlin fighting for it. Both teams still digging for it behind the Minnesota net. Looking to clear, and they finally will on a kind of a third or fourth attempt there. Sergachev will push that right back in right corner. We'll see if we do all that again. Looks like we won't. Minnesota will pick it right back up. Looking to clear it out left side. Utah will keep it in instead, though. Quick pass down to the point for Valimaki. Over to the right side. Back to Valimaki down to the point. Looks for a shot. That one's saved by Fleury. Looking for the rebound. Won't find it. Kaprizov trying to clear it out right side. He will. All the way back down. Boldy racing for it, but Schmaltz and Valimaki there to pick it up. Just down there for pressure. 2.5 left in the second. Or 2:31, as not sure if they're calling that one icing or a penalty. A penalty, actually, they're calling on that one. Minnesota back on the power play now. We'll see where that was. Oh, yeah. Cole taking a 2-minute minor for roughing against Kaprizov, pretty much in the corner. Cole fighting for that puck, just pretty much bluntly punches Kaprizov in the face. So 2 minutes back to the box for Utah, and we'll see if on the third attempt tonight, Minnesota can get something going on this power play. 2.5 left, so this penalty won't extend into the third. That's the silver lining for Utah, I guess. They win the draw, looking to clear it out right side. Won't be kept in by Minnesota all the way back down. Picked up back in the Minnesota zone. Spurgeon with it. I'll leave that one back. Pass cross over to Rossi. Boldy will pick it up, looking to push that into the left side corner for Kaprizov. Back to Boldy in the right side corner. Back down to Spurgeon, right point. Boldy, pass across to the left side point. Spurgeon moving that way as well. Back down to Zuccarello, left side. Back to Kaprizov. Quick pass over to Boldy. Looks for a tip in front for Rossi. Would have had it completely, but that one just misses a stick shot by Kaprizov. That one goes wide as well. Minute 15 left in the Minnesota power play. Zuccarello looking for it in front, looking for another rebound, won't find it. Utah looking to clear. They finally will. 1:35 left in the second. Some great chances there by Minnesota that would have completely had that one in the net if Rossi had been able to tip that one in there. Minnesota looking to get that one in right side. Zuccarello will keep it in. Left side with it. 45 seconds left on the power play. Pass over to Boldy at the right side dot. Back down to the point for Faber. Zuccarello tries to get that pass back over to Boldy. Won't find it. Utah trying to clear. Won't be able to. Kaprizov looking for a shot from an angle. Circling that back down around. Boldy in front with it. Shot. Saved by Vejmelka. Kept into the zone, though. 25 seconds left on the power play. Zuccarello. Pass over to Boldy. Trying to find that tip across to Zuccarello, or to Kaprizov. Won't find it. Kept in down at the point. Shot. That one goes wide. Zuccarello keep it in right side. 5 seconds left on that power play. 35 left in the second. Zuccarello back with it. Looking for a tip in front. Won't find it. That power play cleared off. Utah trying to clear. Won't be able to. Zuccarello pass in front. Saved by Vejmelka. He'll keep the glove down on that one to slow this game down. So that is 3 power play opportunities that Minnesota has had tonight. They have been able to get some great shots on, but a combination of the Utah penalty kill and Vejmelka has just really prevented anything so far. We'll see if in these last about 24 seconds here, on the one shot there by Zuccarello, that one looked like that hit the iron. So just mere inches away from regaining that lead. 24.3, shot sitting 19-12 in favor of Minnesota. In the Utah zone for the faceoff. If we cut away from Zuccarello on the bench, I'll tell you what side it's on. There we go. Right side draw. It'll be pushed in the right corner. Both teams digging away at it. Johansson trying to get in the left side corner. He will. pushing that around to Hartman, although pushes that too well, will bounce up into the netting instead. 14.4 still in the Utah zone, though, and plenty of time for at least one or two good shots on net. We'll see if we can just quickly end this period. There's really only 14 seconds. We'll see what happens. My guess is not much, but still always that possibility. Left side draw this time in the Utah zone. Utah won that back. Keller, quick little pass back to Sergachev. Utah just kind of holds it in their own zone, looking to chip that one up. Back behind the Minnesota net. 3 seconds. That should be the end of the period, and it will be. At the end of 40, shots sitting 19-12 in favor of Minnesota. Looking at the second specifically, 10-4 in favor of Minnesota. So definitely a period where they controlled a lot of it, and they had those chances, but Vejmelka keeping Utah in it. Utah almost had the go-ahead goal there, but that one called back correctly for goaltender interference. So we'll see if in the third either team could get something going, especially if Utah gets sloppy again, taking more penalties. If Minnesota can figure out a way to beat Vejmelka on that power play, but that will be a problem for them. As of now, still tied at 1. Listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801 Utah Hockey Radio. We'll see you back in 15 for the third and maybe the conclusion, although this might need overtime again. That's a problem for then. See you back in 15 for the third. Welcome back. So we're getting ready to start the final 20 of regulation, still tied at 1. Some stats before we go into the second. Shots adjusted during the intermission, now sitting 20-12 in favor of Minnesota. Faceoffs 18-14 in favor of Utah. Both teams struggling on the power play tonight. Utah 0 for 2 and Minnesota 0 for 3. Hits sitting 7-5 in favor of Utah. Blocked shots sitting 9-5 in favor of Minnesota. And then shots looking specifically at the second, adjusted now 11-4 in favor of Minnesota. So definitely Minnesota's period during the second there, but doesn't matter. Vejmelka keeps Utah in it, if just barely. At the end of the day, it's still tied at 1 so far. If Minnesota can keep up the pressure they have been, which I see no reason why they won't, and if that top line can maybe get another in, I mean, you'd like to see some depth scoring, but at a point like this, any goal counts. So if you can get it from Kaprizov, Rossi, Zuccarello, any of them who have been playing great, get another nice passing play, break that up right through the Utah defense, anything, get that lead early, that puts that pressure on Utah, which has not been able to answer back very successfully so far tonight. So it's even bigger on Minnesota than it usually is for most teams to take that lead early because they've been controlling the defensive end of it so well. If they can take that early lead, as long as, like the first goal, they don't magically have one bounce in on them, it should be theirs to lose. If you're Utah in this situation, it's the same thing I've been saying the first two periods. At minimum, get in and keep that zone pressure. Because even if you're not getting those goals in when you're in the zone, A, you haven't been in the zone the first few periods, and B, you're preventing the Wild from being in yours. So we'll see what happens. Very important 20 here. Opening faceoff, one back by Utah, will end up back in their own zone. Mata with it. Moving up through across the red line, just forced to dump that in, just barely not on net. Minnesota will pick that up behind their own net, looking for a long pass up. It'll end up long, but all the way back down to the Utah end instead. No icing, as it looks like that bounced off a Utah player somewhere along the lines. Back up the other way as Bukestad up the left side slows, creates some space for himself. He'll leave that up the left side boards. Sergachev, the one there, looking for backhand in front. That one goes wide instead. Tied along the right side boards. Maselli trying to race for it. Mata's also deep there. Will end up back down to the right side point. Right side point. Bukestad will be forced to just dump that. Minnesota will pick it up instead. Chris Holm, he'll push that around to the left side corner. Back to him. Here's Kaprizov moving up. Or here's Gaudreau actually moving up, trying to find Johansson in front, not quite able to. It'll end up left side. Mata will try and pick it up behind the Utah net. It'll end up left side board instead. He's not able to hold that pass initially. Keller looking for a pass up to Schmaltz. Hits his skates instead. Hayton there to pick it up. It'll end up right corner of the Minnesota zone. Keller pressured off the puck. Gaudreau will pick it up instead. Trying to pass it up to Johansson. Will be kept in the Minnesota zone. Pass over to Kessling. It'll bounce out of the zone, though. He's not able to keep that in. Quick pass up to Hayton. Not able to hold that pass either, but able to get it back into the Utah zone. Pressure that away from Foligno. 18-20 left in the third now. Valimaki in the Utah zone. Waits for the change. He'll leave that back as he should go for a change, and he will. Cooley, it looked like, trying to get in. Tied up pretty much in his own skates there. Be forced dumped in right side instead. Will end up left corner. Big hit there. Hustadinov will get to it, trying to push that around as Dermott was also trying to push that out of the zone. Kept in. Gunther, pass it up to Cooley, or to Kolyachonok, trying for a tip in front for McBain, won't find it. That one Minnesota will pick up, pushing that left corner of their own zone. They'll regain control, looking to clear, and they will. Long pass over to Hustadinov, left side looking for a shot. That one goes wide. Kept in along the right side boards. Utah will get it, looking to clear into neutral ice. Barely won't. But it looked like that one was going off sides. Looked like it wasn't. Was determined it was, so play blown dead. Both teams, some good pressure out early. Utah doing a way better job than those first few periods of just, like I said, keeping it in the Minnesota zone. They haven't had the best shooting opportunities, but so far, they're preventing Minnesota from being in their zone, which at a point like this, that's exactly what you need. Minnesota trying to pick that puck up in front of the Utah net, won't be able to. Utah back up the other way. Carcone trying to cut in front, forced to wrap around instead, pushes that in front, looks for a tip, won't find it. Valimaki will keep it in, that hits a body, looking for a shot from the slot there. Carcone racing to keep that in left side boards. Tied up, looking to clear is Minnesota, and they will. Back up the other way. Hartman trying to chip that up to Foligno. Won't quite be able to. It'll end up left side corner. Kerfoot trying to dig for it. Shot from an angle is Gauntz trying to find that. It'll bounce all the way back down to the Minnesota end. Faber with it. 16:40 left in the third now. Racing up the other way. Brodin forced to push that around left side. Will take a bounce in front, but Utah there to pick it up instead. Back up the other way. Maselli trying to chip that up to Bukestad. Fleury will come out and push that to the right corner instead. Utah push it left side in response. Maselli grabbing it along the right side boards now. It's just push back around. Bukestad there to help. Bukestad will come away with it, but still pressure, trying to push that back down to the right side point. Minnesota will grab it, looking to clear. Clears it into the bench instead. Wallstat with the save that time. 16:04 left in the third. Still tied at 1, and no shots on net for either team 4 minutes in. But some great rushes from both teams. Great rushes from Minnesota in these few minutes here, and Utah doing a way better job in these opening minutes here of just keeping that puck in the Minnesota end. At this point, you haven't had much success in the offensive zone. Staying in it is crucial. Even if you can't get those shots on net, Minnesota's done a great job on the Utah end, so just keeping them out of there is what they need to do. We'll be back down to the Utah end just for a second, though. Kalic on a quick pass across. Hayden with it now, moving up the right side into the Minnesota zone. Pressured along those right side boards, zone by Brodin. He'll bounce in front for Fleury. He'll make the easy little glove save there. 15:49 left in the third. It's finally first shot of the period is Utah's, now setting 20-13 in favor of Minnesota favor. See if they can find the secret to breaking Fleury here. Right side draw, a shot from the slot there. That'll hit a body. Doesn't bounce out of the zone, though. Barely kept in. Will bounce in front. Nobody there but Faber to pick it up. Minnesota looking to clear. They will. Will bounce up to neutral ice. Keller ties up one of the Minnesota players there and can't get much going. Delayed penalty. Looks like on Utah. We'll see here. 15:29, but one of the teams definitely going to the box. It will be Utah. We'll see who and what for in a second. If we weren't looking at, there we go. It'll be a hooking call on Utah. The only silver lining if you're Valimaki taking the hooking against Johansson. Looks like he just ties him up in the corner and hooks him there. Like I was saying, the only silver lining if you're Utah in this case is that Minnesota is 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. However, in a tight game like this, you would assume they're going to try a little harder, get that pressure going. One back by Minnesota, left side draw, Spurgeon walking to the point. Get that to Zuccarello, that shot. Will bounce back to Rossi. Back down to the center slot for Spurgeon. We'll give that to Zuccarello, moving up to the left side dot. Back to Spurgeon at the point. Shot, that one goes wide. Kerfoot will get to it first, looking to clear, won't be able to, barely kept in by Spurgeon. Kaprizov now back down at left side point. Back to Zuccarello. Back behind the Utah net, minute and a half left in the power play. Looking to cut in front for a backhand save by Vejmelka. Looking to clear that out as Utah all the way back down. It goes. 14:50 left in the third. Minnesota back up the other way. Boldy, a pass across. It'll end up to Zuccarello, it'll end up to Kaprizov in the right side point. Back to him. Back down to Boldy and Spurgeon now with it in the slot. Back to Boldy, right side. Looking for a shot in front, hits a body. Kaprizov will pick it up. Back to him, right side slot. Spurgeon, big shot. That one will go wide. 55 seconds left in the power play now. Utah trying to dig that one away. Kaprizov trying to throw that in front. It'll hit a body in front. Looking for a quick little tip. It'll bounce up. Vejmelka with the save, though. Rossi doing a great job just in front. That soft little shot getting that up into the air, maybe throw off Amelka there. He sees that puck just in time, though, as he gets that body over right into the glove. Some great chances by Minnesota so far, but this Utah penalty kill doing an equally good job keeping them to the outside, kind of not letting them get those shots like they have been all game. Left side draw, one back by Utah all the way to the right side of their own zone. In the middle of it, looking to clear all the way back down, and they will. Kerfoot will actually pick it up, trying to push that into the Minnesota zone. He will, 5-on-1 pretty much, though, can't do much. 30 seconds left in the power play now. Minnesota back in their own zone. Quick pass to Johansson. Tipped up by Gaudreau. It'll end up around. Takes a bounce in front. No Minnesota players there to pick it up, though. 15 seconds. Kerfoot trying for another shorthanded. It'll end up back behind the Minnesota net instead, just killing that time. Zuccarello or Hartman will pick it up. 8 seconds left. Utah, unless something crazy happens, should kill off this penalty. 2 seconds. Johansson getting into the zone, but can't get anything set up. They will kill off that penalty. 13:25 left in the third, still tied at 1. Utah back up the other way. Left in the slot for Keller, a shot. Bounces. Fleury makes the save, but doesn't catch the rebound as well as he wants. Chisholm will get a pass over to the left side of the Minnesota zone, looking to get that up through neutral ice. Kaprizov almost has it there, but great job by Kesselring to really just prevent that pass. There was whole body in the way. Dumped in Minnesota zone by Utah. They'll hold it behind their own net as they wait for a change. They'll take a bounce off the skate, though. Chisholm behind the net. Utah will grab it. Sergachev pass over to the left side, looking for a tip in front. Both teams digging away at it. Won't. Nothing goes in. Mata almost sets one up. Doesn't. Gives that to Sergachev, who's moving to the right side point now. Gets that back down to Maselli in the slot. Shot hits a body in front. Will end up in the left corner instead. Motto deep with it. He'll get that back to Maselli. Back to Bukestad. Hops over his stick, though. Can't do much about that. He'll end up out of the zone. Trying to break back in. They will quickly. Trying to get the pass over to Krauth. Won't be able to. Here's Kaprizov. He's got Zuccarello with him. He'll leave it for him on the left side. Pressured. Forced to just dump that behind the Utah net instead. Kaprizov. Cutting around back down to the right side point. A shot. That one goes wide. Vejmelka down right at the post there to prevent anything, but Utah will grab it, moving back up the other way. Krause pressured left side boards. Get that pass across. Here's Bukestad moving in, shot from the slot, way up over the net. Will end up left side. 11:49 left in the third now. Bogosian, quick little pass across. Back to him in the Minnesota end. Gaunt's not able to really grab much there. Taking a bounce through neutral ice. Gaunt's trying to dig away at it. He'll push it behind the Utah net. Vejmelka will come behind it. Looking to clear that out left side. Won't be able to. It'll bounce over to the right corner. McBain there. Trying to clear it out. It'll be kept in. It'll bounce over to Valimaki in the left side corner. Nobody there. Looking to clear it for real this time, and he will. Will bounce back down into the Minnesota end. Bogosian there to pick it up. 11:10 now left in the third. Minnesota back up the other way. Shot on net, saved by Vejmelka, not able to hold a rebound though. Kerfoot will grab it along the right side boards. Kept in by the Wild though, just for a second. Poke checked away by Utah. Faber back into the Wild zone. Pass up to Brodin. Forced to push that into the Utah zone. Will end up right corner. Looking to clear that out right side. Won't be able to. A shot that'll end up right side point. Cole push that to Kesselring. At least he'll try to in the right side corner. Foligno there to grab it. Hartman looking for a pass in front. Won't find it. Utah back up the other way now. Trying to cut in. Carcone trying to get that up along the left side boards. Too much pressure, though, and can't really control that. Foligno now back up with it. He'll leave that for Hartman. Forced just ringing around. Schmaltz try and get to it first, but Boldy there trying his best to grab it. He'll push it deep into the zone, but no Minnesota players there to grab it. 10:10 left in the third now. Schmaltz pass up to Keller. That shot goes wide. Will end up into the right side boards. A late penalty should be on Minnesota, I believe, for tripping on Keller. We'll see here what they decide. Regardless, 10:04 with play blown dead. I guess we'll find out after the commercial. Both teams with some excellent rushes on those last few attempts there. but goaltending keeping him in it, and that defensive play keeping this game tied at 1. We'll see what happens in the last 10 minutes here. Listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. .10:04 left in the third. Utah back up on the power play. Spurgeon taking a 2-minute tripping against Keller. Like I had seen there, wasn't sure who had done it, but regardless. Similarly to the Minnesota power play there, the silver lining is Utah 0 for 2 tonight. So, as long as their, I would argue their actual power play has been worse than Minnesota's has tonight, especially because that Minnesota penalty kill has been so great tonight. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Keller continues his odd streak of 4 goals in the last 4 games, all in the third period. So we'll see if he can break the tie again like he has been over these last few nights. 10:04. Right side draw in the Utah zone. We'll redo that face-off. Husnudinov and Schmaltz on the draw. Utah wins that back. Sergachev, quick little pass over to Gunther. That one goes in. There it is. Quick on the draw, and Utah on the power play. We'll see if this one counts this time. As of this second, Utah up 2-1. We'll see on the replay here who got that one. Looks like they're giving that to Gunther. Let's see how that one goes in. When the draw back, push over to the left side. Just a quick little shot in front. Goes right over the shoulder of Fleury, right top corner. Beautiful shot by Gunther. Or 5-hole maybe it actually was. Yeah, looks like that one just bounces in 5-hole. Gunther, his 16th of the season on the power play. Sergachev and Schmaltz with the assists, 16th and 21st respectively. 9:59 left to play. So 5 seconds into that power play, and that Utah power play decides they actually want to put something in tonight. Kaprizov racing back up the other way, left side. He's got Gaudreau with him. Saved by Vamelka. Big save in front to keep this a Utah lead. Utah able to clear that one out. Brodin back in the Minnesota zone with it. Forced to push that in left side. Will end up right corner. Both teams digging away at it. Pushed back behind the Utah net now. Sergachev with it. Quick little pass in front to Kraus. Pressured by Boldy, though. Forced to push that over to the right corner. Utah, quick passing. Finally able to, or tries to get that out of the zone on the first attempt. Not able to. They'll push it back into their zone instead, and they'll wait for the change. Gunther, his second tonight as well, so might be going for the hat trick finally. Schmaltz trying to cut through neutral ice. He'll get that in left side. Forced to just dump it instead. Too much pressure. Chisholm trying to push that out left side. Not quite able to. He'll be tied on the right side or left side corner. Will bounce back to him. Looking to clear that out on the second attempt. He will, but Kesselring right in the correct spot to pick that up. So Kaprizov does not grab that pass. Utah dump it right back in. Trying to clear. Not able to. Hayton tries to push that deeper. Not able to. Rossi almost has something there. It'll bounce in the Utah zone regardless. Kesselring, Kaprizov race for it. Rossi will get to it first. He'll push that around. Nobody at the right side point to pick it up, though. So all the way back down to the Minnesota end, it will go. Spurgeon loses control of the puck just for a second. Bjugstad there with pressure, but just home back for the pass. Zuccarello cutting into the middle. At the right side point, over to Brodin, setting up Faber in front. Brodin looking for a pass in the center of the net, nothing there. Back to Faber down at the center point. Brodin will pick it up on the right side point. Trying to get it back to him, not able to. Utah back up the other way. Cooley with it, trying to cut in front. He'll slow at the left side dot instead. Back to Sergachev in the center slot. Another shot saved by Fleury. Right back to him, though. Him and Cooley can't quite decide who wants it. So we'll give that over to Kolyachonok, but poke checked away. Here comes Hustendinov in, saved by Vejmelka as he has a pseudo breakaway there. Kind of a 2-on-1 in Utah's favor, I should say. Utah cleared that out just for a second. Hustendinov get it back along the left side boards, trying to get in front with it, not able to. 7.5 left in the third now. Chipped out by Utah, picked right back up in neutral ice. Dermott, pass over to Hustendinov, saved or shot, bounces up into the netting, saved by Vejmelka. Not sure if he got a piece of that, or regardless, no save or no goal there, and that's what's important for Utah. 7:21 left in the third. Wild with some great opportunities on these last couple rushes here, but Utah on that power play finally breaks through tonight to take the lead. You're listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. .721 left in the first. Utah up 2-1. Minnesota doing a great job of answering back, but Vejmelka keeping Utah in it so far. Two big rushes there, one by Gaudreau, that shot on a breakaway there, not able to go in. And then Hustendinov has one as well, also not able to put that one in past Vejmelka. Delayed penalty after that one. So Minnesota back to the box, they actually determine. Or Utah back to the box, Minnesota back on the power play. Carcone taking 2-minute high sticking against Dermott. So we'll see if on this attempt, Minnesota can finally get something going. Zuccarello moves into the center slot, takes a shot. That one goes wide, looking for a rebound as Boldy won't find it. It'll bounce to the left side instead. Zuccarello racing, grab it, and he will. Taking a bounce in front, Boldy not able to get something going there. Back to Zuccarello, now deep with it, left side. Him and Boldy just passing. Zuccarello moving back up into the slot. Pass to Kaprizov, left side. That one saved by Vejmelka. Takes a bounce, but Zuccarello there to grab it at the right side. Back to Boldy down at the center slot. Back over to Zuccarello, moving back to the center again. Kaprizov looking for a tip in front by Rossi, it looks like, not able to find it. In Utah, able to clear that one all the way back down. 6.5 left in the third. 1:05 left in the power play. Kaprizov grabbing that back in the Minnesota zone. Cutting that over to Zuccarello left side, looking for a pass in front to him, not able to. Spurgeon will pick it up instead, looking for a shot in front to the left side. I'll leave that back instead, looking for a shot from the slot. That one goes wide. Boldy, the one looking for that shot there. Back to Spurgeon along the right side boards. Will end up behind the net. Both teams digging away at it. It'll bounce in front. Zuccarello will grab it back down at the point. Back down to Boldy. He'll give that across to Spurgeon at the right side point. Zuccarello back to Boldy, back to Zuccarello in the slot, dancing with it. Shot saved by Vejmelka. Leaps for the save there, or dives at the puck there right in front of his crease, and he'll grab it. 5:48 left in the third, 28 seconds left on the Minnesota power play. Great chances so far, but the Utah defense, and majority of it being Vejmelka, but at the same time, Utah defense doing a great job of really shutting down Kaprizov tonight, not letting him do a lot with it, forcing him to just get those passes, do anything else with it instead of getting those shots in, especially from angles. Vejmelka's, the few attempts he's had has been blocked very easily by him. Left side draw in the Utah zone. 28 seconds left on the Minnesota power play. If we can cut away from the goalie and actually drop this puck, that would be nice. Eventually, there we go. Left side draw, tied up at the dot, but Minnesota will win it back. Faber with it. Cutting into the center slot. He'll give that over to the right side. Shot saved by Vejmelka. That one goes wide regardless, out of the zone. All the way back down to the Minnesota end. 15 seconds left. Boldy with it. Cutting in over the red line. He'll push that back down. Gaudreau, a pass across to Johansson, pretty sure. Will end up left side boards, and Utah will kill off that penalty. Will end up right side of the Utah zone. Hartman with it. He'll get that over to Gaudreau in the right side corner. Back to Hartman, a big shot. That one looking for a rebound. Will bounce wide instead. Kerfoot there to pick it up. A pass up to Hayton, moving in the right side of the Minnesota zone. Pass that back to Valimaki out of the Minnesota zone. He'll double back to his own zone. Pass up to Hayton again. Barely up over the line. Moves it out of the way, though, and that will be an offsides for Utah. Utah with another critical kill that puts Minnesota at 0 for 5 on the power play tonight. Any one of those goes in, and this is a completely different game, but as it stands now, 2-1 Utah. 4:52 left in the game. We'll see what happens. You're listening to Utah, Minnesota on Utah 801, Utah Hockey Radio. We'll be back after the short commercial break. .452 left in the third. Utah up 2-1. Shots currently sitting 28-17 in favor of Minnesota. Looking at through some of the other stats during the commercial break there, Utah seeming to have found their game in the third here as they've taken over faceoffs. 26-16 in favor of Utah, and that's been a big factor over all the games they've had, is when they've controlled the faceoff circle, they've really controlled the game. They've done excellent at it so far, and when they are having struggles with it or it's been a lot more equal, that's when they've had troubles in the games. Right side corner of the Minnesota zone, both teams trying to dig away at it. Schmaltz trying to push that to the left side. It'll bounce up to Keller in front, takes a shot, and that one goes wide entirely. Cole pick it up along the left side boards. Will end up back down to the right side point for Mata, pushing that, or trying to push that back up to Keller. Minnesota will break away with it. Zuccarello poke checked away by Schmaltz, though. Faber trying to get something going, but Utah able to clear that one out. Minnesota forced to dump that into the Utah zone. Vejmelka will just push that out left side instead. 4:10 left in the third. Shot on net for Utah. That one just kind of rolls in and will end up right corner instead. Minnesota able to come away with it. Zuccarello moving up ice. Pass over to Kaprizov. Tied up along the right side boards. 4 minutes left. Big shot from Spurgeon down at the point. Saved by Vejmelka. Pushes that one out to the left side dot. Looking to clear, and they will on the second attempt there. Here's Kraus moving in right side. Trying to cut in front. Won't be able to. Will end up behind the Minnesota net instead. He's got Maselli with him to help. Quick pass over to Kesselring. Pressured. Back to Maselli in the right side corner. Kesselring. Pass over the left side. Not able to get that shot off. Colwell instead. Shot saved by Fleury. Gaudreau moving up with it. Quick pass over to Kaprizov. Back to him. Puck bounces in front, saved by Vejmelka there. 3:25 left in the third. Shots now sitting 29-19 in favor of Minnesota. So it's not that they have not had chances. They've honestly been controlling the majority of this game. It's a similar situation to the Carolina game that Utah played a couple of months back, where it's just been all Vejmelka tonight. He has kept them in. Minnesota has had the offensive chances. They've had the pressure, but Vejmelka has decided he's going to carry the team on his back tonight. And Utah answering back just enough to get those goals in. First one off a lucky bounce. Second one in on, normal shot there, but still plenty of time for Minnesota to tie this one up. Shot from left side point. That one goes wide. Utah able to clear that all the way back down. That one is on net, so no icing there. Would have been close regardless. 3:10 left. We'll see when Minnesota, if they decide to pull their goalie. Might be a little early, but still all the same. Trying to move it in right side, force it, dump it instead. Utah will get to it first, looking to clear it out. They'll regain control, and they will. Tied with neutral ice, though, can't quite get in. Gunther, one trying to get pressure there. McBain also moving into the zone with pressure. Quick passes up by Minnesota, trying to get that in left side. Foligno tied up the line, though. Will end up left corner. Foligno and Mata racing or battling for it. Will end up behind the net. Shore, I believe, trying to dig away at it. Or Boldy trying to dig away at it, not Shore there. Will end up back to him behind the Utah net. Foligno there. Mata able to come away with it, though. Mata moving up out of the Utah zone. He'll double back over the red line into his own zone as Utah goes for a change. 2:18 now left. We'll see when Minnesota decides. Although if Utah keeps up this pressure, they're not going to be having much of an opportunity to pull the goalie. Minnesota trying to move it up, or Utah trying to move it up over their own blue line there. They'll get it up over the red line, dumping it out of play, though. So play blown dead. 2:04 left in the third. Utah up 2-1. Shot still sitting 29-19 Utah, or not Utah, 29-19 Minnesota. But Utah with the pressure in this last little bit here. We'll see what happens here. Still plenty of time for something to go in. Center ice draw. Kerfoot, Rossi, one back by Utah. Cole with it, right over the red line, forced to dump it in instead. Will end up left corner. Racing forward is Kerfoot, trying to grab that along the right side corner. Kaprizov will grab it behind the Minnesota net. Stenlund with pressure, can't quite move out on the first attempt. 1:44 now. Boldy, he'll dump that into the Utah zone. Vejmelka behind his own net, trying to push that out. Minnesota pulls the goalie. 6-on-5. Minute and a half left. Sergachev trying to battle for it behind the Utah net. Foligno will push it to the right side instead. Both teams digging away at it. Minnesota will regain it. Spurgeon moving into the slot. Pass that over to the left side. Or to the right side for Rossi. Looking for a tip in front. That one will end up to the left side now. Utah regaining control, looking to clear. And they will pass up to Kerfoot, not able to grab it. 1:05. Gunther on the ice. I'm sure looking for the hat trick. Model will grab it. Pass over to Cole in the left side corner. Minnesota trying to dig away at it. Boldy. It'll be cleared out of the Utah zone all the way back down. Spurgeon will get to it. 50 seconds left. Kaprizov, he'll push that to Spurgeon in the left side corner of the Minnesota zone. Nobody in the right corner as he pushes that back there. So Zuccarello forced to go there instead. 38 seconds. Minnesota looking to get into the zone. Kaprizov up the left side. Tries to chip that deeper. He'll end up behind the Utah net into the right corner. McBain there looking to clear. Gunther, he will clear. Cooley trying to dig that away. Minnesota will pick it right back up at their own blue line. 20 seconds left. Minnesota moving in. Faber trying to cut in front. Poke checked away, though. Rossi will grab it instead. Utah able to regain control of it. 11 seconds. Believe they're calling that an offsides, or it bounced up over the play or over the glass. Regardless, play blown dead. We'll see where that face-off ends up, and that will determine what that was there. 11 seconds. If this is in the Utah zone, this is crucial for Minnesota. If not, this should be the end of the game. Shot sitting 29-18 in favor. Timeout has been called by either Minnesota or Utah. Regardless, timeout called. Likely Minnesota, if I had to guess. Would just make the most sense. Shots in the third, looking at that, 9-6 in favor of Minnesota so far. So definitely with all the pressure so far, but in those first period and second, really, mostly Vimmelka. I would say in this third here, it's been the Utah defense as well as Vimmelka. They really came out swinging in this third here. Got that goal off the power play, 5 seconds in, really controlling this game in the third here. 11 seconds, Minnesota with the empty net. Left side draw outside the Utah zone. Stenlin Rossi on the draw. Tied up, pushed in the Utah zone. Utah will regain control, looking to clear Spurgeon. He'll push that back in. Poke checked away to the right side. 3 seconds. Rossi with it. Trying to poke that out of the zone, and that will be the game. Utah comes away with it. A 2-1 victory, extending their road streak to 7. What a game. Vimmelka pretty much controlling most of this game for Utah here. Minnesota not without pressure and rush the entire game, but Utah finally got it together during the third. Gets that lucky shot on the power play. Next game for Utah will be Sunday the 22nd, back home against Anaheim. However, Works decided that I don't get to do that one or the 23rd, so meet me back here the 27th. Utah still at home playing Colorado. That being said, since this is the last game I can call before Christmas, a Merry Christmas to all and a Happy Holidays. With that all being said, I have been Taryn Holmes. This has been Utah 801 Utah Hockey Radio. Have yourselves a good rest of the night and a Happy Holidays.